Hey, soldiers. Disney's stock is down almost 17% over the 5-year period. Additionally, they've stopped paying a dividend. They're talking about possibly resuming that as of 2023. We'll see what happens. But with all of this tumult with their share price and the stock in general, the company continues to make programming and content that people are less and less excited about actually seeing. Why? Because they've injected a heavy dose of leftism and wokeness into it. And there's a backlash building against that. So I don't know why a company like Disney, which, is traditionally known for wholesome content. Back when I was a kid, they had a movie on every week called the Disney Movie of the Week or something like that. When I was a kid, my parents used to sit me down in front of that with my brothers and we just watch it. No problem. Okay. But now I'm hearing from parents who are saying, if I am going to let my kids watch a Disney piece of content, I got to watch it first. I got to do some research on it because it's just not a foregone conclusion that you can trust Disney anymore to have wholesome values that are consistent with most of America, okay, and with the way that these people that are my friends that are telling me this actually parent, okay? So that's kind of that's a big time trust issue, right? And look, the numbers bear it out. Disney, you got a problem, all right? Even take some of your adult content, or not adult content, but content for more mature audiences like Star Wars, okay? So that's not the little teeny kids that are watching that. That's an adult audience, adolescent, teen. They screwed that up from the start, all right? They had this thing where, fine, you got this female character, fine. But the problem is Hollywood no longer understands how to write female characters, and Disney is the main offender. Do you remember Ripley from the Aliens franchise? There was a female character that was 110% believable. She took on the aliens. She used this. 80% of what she did was this, okay? Thinking, strategizing, moving through, outsmarting these beasts after learning about them. Then when you go to that second movie, Aliens, that's where she really shined, because not only was she still outsmarting these aliens, she had that little girl, Newt, that she was caring for, trying to get her out of that bad situation. So she got to display that nurturing side and that side where she was extremely smart and, competent with actually battling these things with guns, okay? All of the men in that movie either were gravely injured or did not survive. Even the male android, okay? He was messed up by the end of that movie. Guys, it's been 30 years. Yes, this is a spoiler. If you haven't seen it, hey, I don't know what to tell you. But you've had 3 decades. But every man in that movie was wiped out, okay? And it was completely believable. Fast forward to the latest Predator movie. It's a prequel, okay? It's out there somewhere on streaming. And you've got a 98-pound young woman who takes on the Predator in fisticuffs, okay? Hand-to-hand combat. And I'm not talking the Marquis de Queensberry rules here, all right? And she beats him like a rented mule, all right? All the while wisecracking and, it's just like, come on, okay? So when we get, stuff like this, the audiences are turned off, okay? You can write strong female characters like Ripley, like River Tam from the Firefly franchise, okay? Go back to Pepper from Policewoman. That's way back. Nobody remembers that, right? On and on and on. You got so many strong female characters out there. Uhura, all right, from Star Trek. On and on and on. But Disney wants to, participate in this ESG, DEI thing that's so hot now. And people have just lost their minds. So this is resulting in a stock that's battered, investors that are no longer getting income from the stock in the form of dividends, and also an executive who is leaving. Now, Bob Chapek, Okay, he was the guy that resigned. There are two Bobs. There's Bob Chapek and Bob Iger. Chapek was shown the door. Iger came back in. He was a former CEO and took over again. All right, because of the company's flailing status. Now we've got another Disney executive who is she's out, okay, and she could be responsible for a whole lot of the wokey woke garbage that is tanking this stock. Now, Latondra Newton, she's Disney's chief diversity officer. Chief diversity officer. Okay, what is that? Right? I'll tell you what it is. In Hollywood, if you watch a modern day movie, anything after, say, 2017, 2019, you might get up there, maybe. But definitely anything after 2018, 2019, you're going to see check boxes checked. Okay, so we've got to have someone who's LGBTQ. We've got to have someone who's overweight. We've got to have someone who's black. Okay, we've got to have a woman in charge somewhere. We got to have a weak male. It's just so formulaic, okay? So much so that my wife and I really don't watch any new movies, okay? I do a lot of research on a movie if it's new before we watch it because they don't know how to write anymore. They're not original, okay? They're very formulaic, and it's tiring, okay? And I can just go back and watch an old episode of Star Trek and be entertained, something I've seen half a dozen times, and be just as entertained, if not more, than I was the first time because it's entertaining. All right, but looks like this flailing stock and, the company turning out movies like Elemental, which flopped. These movies they turning out keep flopping, resulting in another head rolling. So Bob Chapek's out. Now, Latondra Newton, the chief diversity officer, is out. Latondra Newton, who has served as Disney's chief diversity officer since 2017, is leaving the company. An internal memo from Disney Chief Human Resources Officer Sonia Coleman announcing Newman's departure was circulated to staff on Tuesday, so just this week. Okay, so she's getting up out of there, and I think it probably has a lot to do with that formula we just went over. We watched some movie. It was a series that had, we started watching it. It was a series that had these people in outer space, and they were on some mission, like for Earth, save Earth, right? And they had this guy. He was overweight, and I'm like, man, they wouldn't send that guy into outer space. Now he might be one of the smartest guys on the planet, but they wouldn't send him into outer space like that because he's not fit, right? And let's just be honest. Right now, to go in space, you need to be fit. Okay? It's just the way it is. All right. And then the crew had all these little psychological issues. I'm like, wait, NASA would never do that. Elon Musk would never do that. They never send these people up into space. And it was glaringly obvious. But again, they were checking boxes. So Latondra Newton is getting out of there after a 6-year stint. And a lot of controversies, okay, because Disney has adopted woke policies that have alienated many of its core customers. Last year, Disney World in Orlando, Florida grabbed headlines when it did away with its longtime greeting, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from its Magic Kingdom fireworks show to promote inclusivity. Now, why would you have to get rid of that? See, this is hyper-wokeism that is resulting in, it's even becoming dangerous. I'll get into that in a moment. But it's definitely deleterious to the bottom line. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how in the hell would that offend anyone? Because you can't say that the LGBTQ community would be offended, because if you have a transgender person, like a man who considers himself a woman, then you just fall under the ladies part of it, right? Or vice versa. Okay? You shouldn't be talking to children about this anyway, so boys and girls is just fine. But this is what they're on, okay? And they're trying to figure out why the stock is having so much trouble, right? All right, we want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our guest, Newton said at the time, and we don't want to just assume because someone might be in our interpretation, may be presenting as female, that they may not want to be princess. Word salad. On Newton's watch, Disney also ditched, quote, fairy godmothers, unquote, for more inclusive, gender-neutral titles at dress-up boutiques inside its theme parks. You've seen the person that worked at the boutique, mustache, obviously a dude, dressed up like a woman. Okay, listen, I'm not participating in your delusions because tell you what, if I walk into a bank and say, hey, I'm here for a loan, I need $2 million. They say, hey, well, okay, well, you got to show us some income verification. No, I don't. I identify as a multi-billionaire. You know what's going to happen. If I don't remove myself from that bank voluntarily, it's going to look something like this.
Fuck off me, man. Yo! Get the fuck off! You think I'm playing games, man? Hey, I'm fucking somebody else. Hey!
Employees who were formerly called fairy godmothers in training are now called fairy godmothers apprentices. But wait a minute, I thought they said they weren't going to use fairy godmothers. Anyway, I'm trying to understand something that is damn near incomprehensible. This way, cast members that might not identify as female can still be a part of the process and dress up and style the children without having to refer to themselves as a female Disney character. Wait a minute. This is the same company that gets people to dress up as a mouse or a dog, Goofy, or a duck. Now, I'm sure those people don't identify as ducks and mice. Maybe they do. But you're just playing a role, right? So once your 8 hours is done, then all of us, when I was a telemarketer, I played the role of telemarketer. Came in, sold you some products if you were interested after I interrupted your dinner. Then I went home. Okay? Whatever. Newton had led Disney's diversity and inclusion initiatives since 2017. That's around the time I told you that the movies started getting weird. Coordinating with various teams to produce entertainment that reflects a global audience and sustains a welcoming and inclusive workplace for everyone, as per a profile on the company's website. See, when you try to get into pleasing every little discrete group, hey, look, I got a workplace here. This workplace is fair. You come in, you're not going to be mistreated, okay, under any circumstances. We got a bathroom over there, okay, and if you whip it out, then you use that one. And then we got another bathroom over here, and if you sit down, then you use that one. And if someday you go and get some sort of surgery that mixes it up, then fine. You go over there, you now go over there. All right, we're going to pay you. And then at the end of the day, we're going to go home, okay? We're the management. We're going to run it, okay? And if you want to move up into management, sure, you can do that. But if you're not management, you're not going to be, telling us how to run this business, okay? And that's that. And if you like that, then you can work here. If you don't, then I guess you got to go find somewhere else to work. Truth like that is not being, spouted anymore. So she was out there leading that diversity and inclusion department since 2017. Disney's The Little Mermaid, released last month, featured Halle Bailey, an African American, as Princess Ariel, highlighting the firm's efforts at promoting diversity. And some might applaud that. Here's what I say. Why don't you do the heavy lifting of actually creating an original character instead of just papering over an existing character? It's lazy, it's lethargic, it's not creative at all, okay? So you think you're doing black people a favor by just saying, hey, let's just make Donald Duck black, okay? No. Why don't you're supposed to be in the business of entertainment, create an original character. It's another problem with the stock. Disney, they're not too original. Okay, they just make an animated movie. Okay, and then they'll make a live action movie, and they'll keep doing that. Okay, so whatever you see animated, you can expect to see live action. All right, and it's just like whatever, Disney. Newton plans to join the corporate board of another company. Absolutely, sure. You fail upward when you follow a certain agenda, and focus on the creative company she owns. A source familiar with the matter told Reuters on Tuesday. The Post saw a comment from Disney, which has yet to make a public statement about Newton's reported departure. All right, Newton's direct reports will be led by Julie Merger. Who cares? She's going to just go with the same thing. During Newton's tenure, Disney landed in the middle of the nation's culture wars by introducing gay, lesbian, and transgender, non-binary, and other minority characters into its animated films and series. The company instituted a slew of other changes, such as outfitting Minnie Mouse with a blue pantsuit, kind of like Hillary Clinton, instead of her traditional red and white polka dot dress. Okay. Disney also announced that it would do away with the Seven Dwarfs characters from its Snow White live-action remake in response to criticism that it was denigrating those with dwarfism. Pretty soon, you won't have to. You won't be able to make any kind of movie. Okay, Disney will just have hamstrung itself. Peter Dinklage, the guy that played the dwarf on Game of Thrones, he came out very hard against the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Every movie he's been in, okay, if he really felt that strongly, why didn't he just say, no, I'm not going to accept the role because this is exploitation? Have you seen him in Game of Thrones? Okay, a lot of, his portrayal is not flattering to that community. I will say this, he was in an X-Men movie and it was extremely intimidating. The guy can act, but I think he was way off base on this. And he basically just ended any Hollywood opportunities for dwarfs. Okay? He just ended it. Thank you, Peter Dinklage. After you've gone out and made your millions, no one else can. This is how these folk think. So they did away with the Seven Dwarfs. In May, a Florida teacher was investigated by the State Department of Education for screening Strange World, a Disney movie with an openly gay character. Back in my day, Superman, Batman, we didn't give a damn about their sex lives. Okay? We just wanted to see him get out there and fight the Joker, Lex Luthor. Same thing with, any other character that was focused toward kids. No one was worried about any of that. But they're pushing it now. An Axios and Harris Poll survey ranked Disney as the fifth most polarizing company, a metric that is measured by the gap between the reputational score among Democrats and Republicans. That's not where you want to be, okay? You want to be someone that Disney once was, and that's accepted by everybody, okay? Democrat, Republican, whatever, go see the movie, have a good time, and go home. The company also had been engaged in a bare-knuckle brawl with Ron DeSantis, the GOP presidential hopeful, after it publicly opposed the governor's so-called Don't Say Gay legislation, which was a farce. Okay, that whole thing, Don't Say Gay, the legislation never ever mentioned that, never put that out there. That was a perversion of what the legislation really said. Everybody out there talking about it. Ron Perlman, the actor, came out with a very ugly response. It was clear he never read the bill, okay? But just jumped on Twitter and started spouting off. So, in any event, a lot of these actors would be, where would they be if they didn't have Hollywood? They're not mental giants. The whole celebrity thing is blown out of proportion, okay? These people back when celebrities, well, they weren't celebrities. Actors and actresses, when they first started up, they didn't have this kind of influence in society. It wasn't until Hollywood came along. Anyway, guys, so that's what's going on with Disney stock. That's why, okay, it's flailing, okay? I wouldn't invest in them even at a 17% low over the past 5 years. I wouldn't do it. And the reason why is because they are not going to change. They're going to keep doing this kind of thing. And being so polarizing that it's just not going to make sense. Okay. All right, guys. So when you get a chance, I want you to, probably now would be a good time, check out this video of another company that decided to go woke, and it ended up in a very dangerous and unfortunately deadly situation. Check it out, guys. I'll talk to you soon.